Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Masochists Marathon, episode 26 now. So last episode we were getting all the logistics production area set up so I can just get the factory to make anything that I want, anything I desire, I can just add in now, and hopefully the majority of the right ingredients are all being delivered to the logistics system. We still need to add a few other rows or belts of items, but we'll get around to that as we need them. I'm expanding the logistics system a little bit more this episode as well, because eventually we do want it to cover the whole planet. Now, first thing I wanted to get on with this episode was the lack of plastic we noticed last time. So I come and sort that out, and I couldn't believe I'd never actually come along and set up the advanced cracking, or advanced processing, sorry, the cracking's done in the chemical plants. I literally couldn't believe it. I thought I'd done it. I just assumed it'd all been done and we were using the more advanced method. So we've probably wasted quite a lot of crude oil. So I finally get this all sorted out. Also testing out the bots delivering stuff, but being as they've had no upgrades whatsoever, it was probably a bad idea. Very large waste of power, but to be honest, we've got nuclear delivering a fairly decent amount of power. I'm quite comfortable with power at the moment with that nuclear running. I also looked at the values of 235, and we're still what's the name of the process? We're still refining more 235 than we're actually using in the nuclear reactors, so that's good. That's still growing. We're not going to be screwed over by the time we finally get to Kovrak. So I think even if I did expand the reactors more, we'd still be growing. And if I expand the processing of uranium, we would probably be fine. But I don't really need to increase the reactors at the moment. The nuclear is bringing in about 50% of our power, which leaves about steam running at about 50%. These are all just completely guessed numbers, by the way. I don't actually know whether it's running that. It's roughly that anyway. And then for those spikes that's kicking in, steam's then filling in the rest that we need. So I don't really need to increase the nuclear power at the moment. That's all perfectly fine. But like I said, just increasing the robo network coverage. So that's the advanced oil processing method now set up and expanded massively, probably over expanded it. We're now going to have to increase our input of crude from the outpost, but we can get that sorted. Another episode probably explains why my heavy to light cracking ratio wasn't working very well. We weren't cracking enough of the heavy, and I started thinking stupid things like they'd changed the ratio and all sorts of things like that, but it turns out I'd just completely forgotten to put the refineries on advanced. So that's all sorted out. We've got far too much heavy cracking now, but with our green circuit values, that doesn't really matter too much. So the next thing I wanted to get done in the episode is start getting some stuff made for my power armor. I want some robo ports, I want some running legs, that sort of stuff. And I want the next level of armor that we could make. We've got it researched, so I can make it. I just need to collect all the various ingredients to do that. I would usually skip right to the end, to the last power armor in a normal game, but considering how easy that is in a normal game compared to this, I can't really do that. I'm going to have to start using this one, which can, barely fit a reactor, a couple of robo ports, and a shield. So I start messing around with the layout because I don't really like this one because it doesn't fit neatly. It leaves all these gaps in where you'd usually put personal solar panels, but as I'm not using those, it's kind of a bit weird. I do end up filling some of it with batteries, but yeah, I don't really like this one. I want to get to the next one as quick as I can, but considering the modules I need to research for that, that's still a little ways off. I may beeline for it straight after Kovraks. We do get a little bit of research done, like the battery Mark II, just as a bit of a capacitor in here. So if I'm using more power than I'm generating, since the batteries got massively improved a while back now, they work as fantastic power buffers. So if you're using more than you're generating, but that value is only higher in bursts. So for example, you've got enough power for your running legs and to generally charge stuff, but then when you're charging a load of robots, the batteries are great for that. And it's the only sensible way I could think to fill the gaps, unless there's something really obvious I'm missing that people can point out. But yeah, I'm setting up this power armor because I don't think I'm going to get to the next one very soon. I would like to, but as soon as we've got the laser turret damage upgrade done that we're currently working on, we're going to go pretty much straight into Kovraks. I may get a couple of things done and in between, depending on the rate of science packs being made. But the current shortage of science packs is actually the military ones. I'm not getting enough iron coming through to the military science pack production, so I really need to sort out upgrading these belts. I'm either going to up these to 8 yellow belts coming through, which does require us to increase the smelting massively, which isn't going to be happening until I get the steel outpost done. So we finally get enough processing units for our personal reactor. We get the batteries, battery Mark IIs done, because I might as well go up for the Mark IIs. It didn't take too long to do that research. And that allows some of the other science packs to buffer, like the military ones. So essentially, we weren't really slowing down laser turret damage research at all when it's limited by a research we weren't using for those others. If that makes sense, I hope it does. But yeah, we get some of those shoehorned in between the reactor and the running legs, etc. So the next thing I wanted to do is build a few more centrifuges just to expand the processing of uranium a little bit more, just to make sure we do keep on top of that 235, because I could be wrong, or suddenly, because it's such a weird process, you know, you never know when suddenly you're just not going to get any for ages. But the fact that you get 10 fuel cells per 235 means we're not actually using them very often, because of the fact we've only got 2 reactors. Anyway, with the beauty of a personal roboport, placing out those 4 centrifuges is so much quicker than it normally would be doing it manually. I had all the inserters, or at least I crafted everything I needed, and it was just a case of those ridiculously expensive centrifuges being done. Eventually I will get them automatically made in the factory, get it limited to like 10 or whatever, so I never have to wait for them to be done. But yeah, now I've got a personal roboport. Yeah, the robots aren't even upgraded even in any way whatsoever, speed or capacity, but it's kind of nicer. At this speed, it's not as bad as it was. This took ages. I decided to come and clear this out as an example. I thought it would look great at this speed, but the bots are still a bit slow, still not got enough capacity to pick up a load of things on belts. So I decided to shoehorn in the first speed upgrade for the robots just to improve that. But I just come and check that's not going to cause any problems for the laser turret damage research. It kind of does a little bit for the blue ones, but oh well, I'll just have to go over it. And also we got some biters and spitters randomly sneaking around there, so I'll go and put in some extra turrets in the gap. And we just come and clear up the depleted miners here. I was going to cut this out, but to be honest, the amount of footage I got done, I kind of wanted to keep it in anyway. Anyway, it's something new, something interesting with the bots. That's just a terrible, lame excuse. But yeah, we come and tidy this up a little bit with the beauty of a personal roboport. But yeah, I do apologise for a lack of video on Saturday. I've completely underestimated how much time I'll actually get to work on videos with work, personal things, and other such things that I won't bore you with. But yeah, no video on Saturday, so apologies about that. I think I'm just going to have to work on videos when I can, and they'll come out whenever they're ready on the days. I don't think I'm going to be able to keep up with even 3 a week, unless the videos are just really boring and sort of drawn out stuff. So, like, you know, I kind of want to put time and effort into these. I don't want to just churn out just an hour playthrough every time of just really boring stuff. I kind of want to get to the good stuff, which is why this episode is so late. But there's like 2.5 hours of gameplay in this, because there's a certain level in this game I just want to get to quickly. So the more I play and the less of that footage I use, the quicker we can get there, instead of me just sort of drawing out stuff that you've probably seen quite a lot in other playthroughs. I want to kind of get to that level nice and quickly. So we get an attack over at the smelters, which are quite annoying. There's also an attack at some point, I don't know when it was, that destroyed one belt for the copper output for the outpost, and the train's just sat there because it's never going to actually empty. So yeah, we've got all that tidied up. I also wanted to come and grab some more construction robots because I only had like 30 on me. So make sure I've got 2 nice clean stacks, just so I can keep a record of how many actually get destroyed, because next up we do actually lose quite a few, partly due to my laziness and just general stupidity as well. I just wanted to come down for some laser turrets. Did we grab them now? We might grab them in a little bit where there's a cut. I also wanted to grab some electronic furnaces just so we can finish that final smelting column at the electronics outpost, because yeah, we don't have enough iron coming through to run the whole thing. In fact, the whole thing doesn't quite run properly because of the ratios between yellow and red belts, but it will work once we get it upgraded, and it's almost running at full speed once we get this last column in. But with the roboport, this is nice and quick. Also, the filters they've put on the deconstruction planner as well allows me to just take out trees without destroying any of the ghost images. Now, the reason why I have this laid out in such a way where the ore is coming in and the end product is going out both at the same ends is so that I can upgrade this to red very easily. Once I stick red on, I can just add the extra smelters on the end, and then same for blue. I don't know if it's a set number with this layout. I need to work out how many electronic smelters it takes to fill a blue belt with beacons and productivity 3s. I'm guessing it's a set number if this layout's been considered a lot, but I need to work that out because that's generally in the future how long these rows are going to be. Once we get this area upgraded with productivity and speed, it's going to be very nice and quick. I haven't done any research with the layout for my electronic circuit assemblers for beacons. I need to work out what that's going to be so I can get beacons covering them nice and equally. If they don't fit at all, then so be it. I'll just have to have loads more assemblers with productivity modules, but that's going to be very important to make it as efficient as possible. So we get a really frustrating attack down at Steam. Somehow these guys managed to get into the Steam area. I'm guessing they're coming from the southwest, so I need to have a look at sorting that out. Again, now having a personal roboport, it's so much easier to get these things fixed up, placing all the things that are missing and repairing all the stuff. That's one thing they help with biter pushing loads, is just repairing those laser turrets for me, so I don't have to have those stupid repairing sessions every like 10-15 minutes. And it looks like they've managed to get in from down here, so I'm guessing since we lost Coal 1, they've managed to expand into this area here across the tracks, and then eventually they've been sucking up all the pollution and then causing attacks, and they generally head to the thickest point of the thickest point of pollution, which is Steam in this area. So that's hence why they ran up and missed any of my dodgy defenses, which I will get sorted soon. I will be spending a hell of a lot of time on defenses and getting it all sorted out, so we don't have to worry about this anymore. But considering the map I've gone for, it's a very difficult thing to get done easily with the amount of time I have. It'll probably mean another late episode, but I do want to get on with it soon. I really do. I just kind of just been avoiding it basically because it's just so tedious. But I will. It's going to involve a lot of biter pushing. One of the things I want to get to today is hopefully in aid of then getting that actually done. So it shouldn't be too much longer, but it depends what's found by the radar that I get out by the end of this episode. But we'll get into that when we get to it in a little bit. And I just come and put some extra turrets around on the track just to prevent any of that kind of expansion into those areas again. It should be fine for now. Kind of overkilling it a little bit with turrets, but perfect timing from the circuit train. We hop back on and just go and finish what we were doing up at Electronics 1. So what I was going on about earlier, sorry, this episode I have started a number of points, got halfway into them and never actually finished them. The point I was trying to make with iron earlier and steel, I want to increase the amount of iron smelting done at the factory. I'm going to do that by basically taking the steel smelting out of the factory, creating a steel smelting outpost, hopefully next episode. Then the columns that are doing steel in the factory can be just converted to converted to iron plates. And then on the main bus, I can either increase the throughput by adding loads more yellow belts, taking it up to where the belts are thinning out, and then passing it down, or having an 8 belt balancer right at the start and having just 4 belts of red for now. I don't know, I'll work out probably which is the cheapest way of doing it. But yes, eventually we will have space for 8 belts of iron on the main bus. I don't know if we'll ever need 8 belts of blue iron, 8 blue belts of iron plates. Sorry, my speech as always, never being the greatest. And we just increase the amount of iron mining here as well, just to satisfy the amount of smelting. And this area should make quite a considerable amount of green circuits. But once these patches are completely depleted, and we've got a nice clear area, once that coal outpost is gone as well, this area is going to be significantly bigger. We need it making more than just under a yellow belt's worth of green circuits. We need, I don't know, like 4 green belts, 4 yellow belts of green circuits. All these colours getting mixed up in my head. But this is probably going to be the only electronics outpost, or the only electronics dedicated outpost when it comes to doing the advanced and the processing unit outposts, which I'll most likely do. I'll probably need an outpost for everything that's used in high quantities. I'll probably make them on site, especially for the processing units. I don't know if we'll ever make enough here to do for it to feed both the factory and the advanced circuit outpost. I don't know. I might even get all the plastic and everything done on the site for the advanced one. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll find an ideal site where there's oil, coal, you know, for the plastics and everything for the circuits as well. We'll just have to see. But obviously, to clear all that ground from biters is a little ways off. It's very time consuming for me to clear biters at the moment, so I really need to get on with speeding that up, really improving my ability to do that. So there's a little cut here where we just come back to grab a few more little things for the next bit of the episode. I also get a little bit carried away by looking at the belts and putting in a few balancers. I put in a copper balancer because I wasn't happy with the way copper was throughputting on the bus. I don't know how much of a difference this is actually going to make, but I felt the need to put it in anyway, just to make sure all 4 of those belts are feeding the factory enough. I also come and start taking out half of the electronic circuit production in the factory, because it is using some annoying amount of the resources here, which could be used for the other things, although I'm still not trusting in Green Circuit or Electronics 1 to provide 100% of the green circuits. So for now, I'm going to leave half of it in, so that if whatever happens with Electronics 1 means that they stop coming through. We've still got some coming from here. I know it's not many with the expensive recipe, but it'll at least improve it a little bit. And plus, I've got a personal roboport, so this is a tiny bit quicker than it normally would, although with all the stuff on the belts, it is a bit slow. But yeah, I'm going to leave in these 2 little groups here. But yeah, they do use a ridiculous amount of resources to feed those. But yeah, you can see I really need to improve the throughput of iron plates to the military science production, because there's a very thin trickle getting through there. So I will work on that very soon. Hopefully next episode, if we get done this episode, what I want to get done. So a quick look on the map here, just to look at various patches, because the next thing I wanted to get done is a bit of biter pushing. We need to secure another iron patch and another copper patch, because if the current ones we're mining run out, then we won't have any coming through. So iron 3 is still going, but very nearly depleted. Then we'll just be relying on iron 4, which is a bit of a small patch, so its throughput of iron isn't exactly, well, it's just shy of what we need, and really I should be ahead of what we actually need before we actually need it, if that makes sense. I need to have patches in reserve before we actually need them. Anyway, I put in a balancer for the green circuits just for the hell of it. There's only one at the start, and I wanted to just put another one in for no real reason yet again. And we skipped forward to me just putting in the stack inserters from iron 3. So I swapped over the fast inserters from iron 2 and put the stack inserters into iron 2, from iron 3 to iron 4, basically, just because that's where they're needed now, and iron 3's nearly depleted. To be honest, next episode we'll probably be taking it out. So here's a montage of lots of little pushing bits. We've already achieved the iron patch just there. That's just north of copper 3, but we're pushing all the way up to the 2 copper patches in the north, one of which kind of has an iron patch off the side of it. Plus, it's right on the edge of the fog of war, so I want to get a satellite in there and get scanning to see if we can find a lake in the north, because if we can, I can use those bottlenecks with turrets rather than putting a ridiculous wall right across this area, and then it's just a case of clearing out all the biters in the middle, and then all these patches are free to mine without having too many pollution attacks depending on where they are in terms of those bottlenecks. Anyway, lots of editing here, but there's about an hour and a half's worth of footage doing all this biter pushing. That's the first little session done. Then we skip forward to us putting some tracks in. There were a couple of occasions where I was going off having to deal with little attacks, but I didn't really want to keep that in. I just wanted the end bit of this episode to just be pure magical. Suddenly all this land is clear. This didn't really take an hour and a half. It's actually 4 minutes of the episode, I think it is, that I've cut it down to. But yeah, a ridiculous amount of turrets I actually have on me. Somewhere in the middle of this session, I think it was just now, I went and grabbed even more. I've got just shy of 200 laser turrets on me, so very big resource investment from the factory. If I die and lose all these, that's a huge amount of resources for me, so I really don't want that to happen, but by having lots of laser turrets on me, that really shouldn't happen. And this last bit is just another sort of 30 odd minutes of biter pushing at 5 times speed with no real editing, just because I haven't really had it in like this for a little while, where it's not jumping around all the place and you can't really see what I'm doing. I just thought I'd leave it in just in case you were missing out on any of the biter pushing. But hopefully there's not going to be too much biter pushing of this style for much longer. Hopefully I can get flamers upgraded, even though apparently they've been nerfed, and some combat robots to do the clearing, because that's much more, I feel much more comfortable doing that because I'm not having to constantly drop and pick up turrets and power poles. Yeah, It is nice now, got a personal roboport, but I much prefer the style of being virtually invincible, running around with a flamer, just setting everything on fire, with the destroyer robots just clearing everything up for me. Although that only really works well in Bob's. I don't know how good that is in vanilla, but I guess we'll find out. Maybe it'll just have to be a mixture of laser turret pushing and flamer and shields and destroyer robots or destroyer capsules. But you know what I mean. So that's this area, nice and cleared. We've got 2 big copper patches up here. There's an iron patch there, and then another iron patch nearby, I think. Oh, it's just that little one, that little pathetic one. But yeah, we've got plenty of clear land here that I can utilize. We've pretty much got the track up here, and I get 2 radars in as well to scan this area nice and quick for me. But that should hopefully sort out supplies for us. The track is going to clash on this, but I'll get that bit mined out straight away, so that's not too much of a problem. And hopefully at the end of the episode, we finish laser turret damage 2, just while I'm clearing up these bits of track. Yep, there we go. There it is. That's going to give us a nice edge against the behemoths for our laser turrets. I do need to get on with Kovacs, but there's a couple of things I want to sneak in before for the next level of power armor. But we do really need to get on with Kovacs if we want to increase our nuclear power capacity. But with all that said and done, that's going to be all we have time for. I do hope you have enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and please do come and join us in the next episode. Bye-bye.